Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your sensei, Al Bob, your griot, here to tell you a story. And to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. It's like one of those Ten Commandment things, right? And, you know, people tend to overthink things.
A beautiful sunny day. A beautiful sunny day. Wow, beautiful sunny day. Beautiful sunny day. Hey, look at that bird. Wow.
Yeah, that's our boy, Johnny Boy. Jamie. And he starts his newest video off with the picture off the upstairs patio, and that's the view I had for 20 years, right? And I would just go there and pray and basically be fine with life, right? But John has issues, right? Johnny Boy, yeah.
Life. I wouldn't actually hurt anyone. I wouldn't unless I probably wouldn't unless I had to defend myself against, like, I don't want to, but I just wouldn't hurt anyone. I think. So, but I might get angry and yell things like I'll kill somebody and say that I won't say I'll kill anyone anymore, though. I hope I don't ever say that again. Like in my own house, not to anyone, but I hope I don't ever go through that again. But I hope I don't ever hurt anyone. And there's sin on this earth, and it sucks. It kind of sucks, and it brings things down sometimes. And so I had to, like, with all my heart and thoughts, I had to try to
say, you don't try, you do. And basically, there's sin on this earth. There's only one sin, and that is being disconnected from love's co-creation, right? And everything else is just the weakness. If you really read the Bible, it goes on and on and on and on and on about how we are sin. We are sinners. We are, from the original sin of knowledge of good and evil, right? So the bottom line, John is always in a quagmire of his ego, right? As I said earlier, you have to be a slave to unconditional love, right? When you have one master, unconditional love, everything else is irrelevant, right? And you would never, I would never. I mean, John threw me out of the school about 32 times, and most of them in the height of the winter. About 20 of them, he threw me out late at night, 20 degrees below zero, snowy, ice storm. Get out with a hammer in his head. I'll hit you in the head. I'll hit you in the head. I'll hit you in the head. I knew that he wouldn't do that because, he didn't do it the other 19 times, right? It's just the fact that he drank 40 cups of coffee, and you could tell just by his eyes, his respiration, the color of his skin, the pallor of his skin, all of these things. I observe everything. So it was never really a problem. And, I have been trained in martial arts, right? So I do never use it, but I would never hurt anyone per se because I know Aikido, and Aikido is to use the inertia of the other person, the attacker, against themselves. So you basically, they come at you, you just kind of, and they're coming at you, and you just kind of get them to go another way, and you get out of town, right? And that's kind of what I did. And after about the third time that Johnny Boy threw me out, I pretty much, and also that, when the third time he threw me out, came back, I found that all the stuff I had in my room had been gone through, and things like my personal documents and things, images of my grandparents and my parents and other people I love were no longer there. And Dragon had sent me thumb drives of a number of shows, and that was gone too. So John is like most humans, most bags of water are manipulated, controlled by their environment and their you know, internal biology, their chemistry, their hormones, their you know their cortisol, their you know fight or flight enzymes. So let's see. I mean, the Bible constructed in 325 BC. Yes, by Constantine. Yes, and his inner cabal. Yes, very similar to the. I was talking to a scholastic who was like constantly going, if it's not in the history book, it didn't exist. 1,000 years, give or take, at least this version of it. And that we are just scripted. The war in Ukraine, all of the other 80 wars around the world, war is good for business. And all the suffering that occurs, there are people who live off the enzymes of fear and anxiety. And that's why we were put in this. Keto is, I love it. It served me well. Don't like hurting people, even the aggressives. Right? You don't have to. You just kind of swish them out of the way and you move forward, right? And usually their aggressive attitude has so programmed their muscles that you can see exactly what they're going to do. So you see what they're going to do. They're going to punch you. They're going to try to hit you with something, and you just kind of whoop, have it go the other way. Sorry, not BC AD, but say no, Jamie. You got the date of the Cabal quite wrong, but in actuality, 325 BC is that Cabal got started by that other Cabal over there in 325 BC. Go look at Maxwell Jordan. I mean, a couple of shows ago, I had um, him on, and you have to pity
the thought of him where he was in prison, and I wasn't supposed to talk to his real mom because I think his dad would have gotten angry or something. And I somehow tried to get him. I asked God and Jesus, and I tried to communicate with him from this far from where he.
You don't ask God, oh, God and Jesus, let me win the lottery. No. The only thing you ask of God is, what do you want me to do next? If you look at, the character actors in the Bible, people like Noah and Moses and Joseph and the coat of many colors and David and Daniel and Paul. Paul has written most of the New Testament, and he never even puts his name on anything. It's the letters to Mark and the letters to this guy and that guy, where he truly, makes the comments that are relevant to our lives today. Jordan Maxwell was my man, mentor for years, a legend. Exactly, because he was, I was an itinerant scholar. I just kind of went around and did jobs for people, and I never, signed up. I just worked as long as they let me. As long as never work for anyone unless they need you more than you need them. And pretty much my whole career, no matter what I was doing, photojournalist, electrician, physical therapist, healer, negotiator, scholar, none of the above. Diplomat did I do for a paycheck. Now they paid me ridiculous amounts of money. I was fine. I'm not going to say no. Anybody giving me $1, fine. I don't say, oh, that's not. No, money is money. Somebody give it to you. Somebody pay you to do something. Not a problem, right? But it has to stay within your guideposts. And my 3 guideposts are Doctor, do no harm. Do not get involved unless you are there to get the innocent out of harm's way and you have a workable exit strategy. You jump into something that basically is going to fail, that's on your nickel, buddy. And you shouldn't do it, right? Because you're just doing it for your ego, right? The other is don't get involved unless you can learn something that will make things better. Again, otherwise, you're just jumping in there for your ego. People, well, I need my ego. No, your ego is just a false flag of your hormones, right? What you played yesterday, denominations of religion, is like money. Yep, pretty much. That's why I don't go to anybody's service. I will go to their fellowship. I go to three churches fellowship, the Cook and the pagan Catholic church. All those people, really good people, right? They all like me, love me, care of me, slip me a can of peas every now and then. And that's fine, you know. Um, and I help them out, I go to see their parents or their brothers or people who have problems, but no one can help. And I talk to them and have a cup of tea with them, right? And so that's what God has got me doing out here, right? Fine, that's cool. And at you know Colonel Sanders and his tweaker slaves and his cockroach family, um, I had kept those folks at bay. Not those specific folks, but people, the ilk of the cockroaches from California, Texas, Florida, uh, Charlotte, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, all saying, "Oh, we had to get out. It's so terrible," and they bring all of that fear, anxiety to here, right? And really, okay. And um, and I'll all say that they're Christian, but they're all gun up and will ready to kill anybody at any time, right? And they've already done things like shoot other people's animals and and be drunk all the time. In the Bible, you know, it's not, 10 commandments are like, you're not supposed to blow ins. Yes. So, the bottom line is to tell the truth, right? So, I cannot. So, right here, whenever you have somebody's put their hands up, this right here, how close that is, and why they have people, you know, put their hand in, raise your right hand, right, and why you do that is that your phalanges, the little muscles in your hand, go to a certain place without you even thinking about it, right? And so here, this is my left hand, not the one. And I always choose the hand that you write with because all of the shamanic energy and empathetic energy go through your hand when you write, right? So blow in, like I said, itinerant scholar. I've been a blow in um, all my life, right? Because every time I come to a place that I feel at home in, and so here I felt at home here for 20 years, right? Verse 18 was like being in heaven. There was nobody here, no tweakers, no cockroaches. It was just the Garden of Eden. And this place is so sensitive. Other places are pretty, but uh, white man has been on that land so long that it has learned to kind of, bob and weave and kind of stay alive, but not so much. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So, I was a blow into Glendore, which is right there between Skibbereen and where they have the up there on the west coast. Anyway, it'll pop into my head. It's went on, right? And Glendore was a little fishing village that, yeah, went under, right? And I was there, before Ireland joined the EU and the Maastricht Treaty, right? So they were still in the everyone's on the dole motif, and but that little town was right out there at the farthest end. It's just a little bit above the ring of Kerry and Skibbereen, so it was like as far west as you could get. in Ireland, and that whole ocean there, the Atlantic, is like the um, Gulf of Mexico, basically. So it's like Florida, you know. But I haven't found the old crone yet, or she hasn't introduced herself yet. Yes, back in when did I take her down there? Oh, so the last time I was, 86, I guess it was, when I was almost going to live in Glendora. I was living with the doctor in that town, and she and I really, really, really got, we really sparked, right? And she was a doctor; she took care of everyone's physical, and everyone called me father. I was the priest of the town because the Catholic Church left. That town was so up the hook that, and so poor, had no money. The church left, so the church was still there. They didn't even have a mayor. They just had, and they didn't have a cop. They had one cop of the Garda that would kind of cruise through in every once in a while just to have a drink. Right, Western Coast is no surprise. That's where she hangs out. Yep, and um, just before Skibbereen and Glendorf, just past the Ring of Kerry, there's a road that goes straight up into those mountains. Right. And I have some pictures of it. I've shown it before. And there is a little kind of hamlet up at the top of where this road is. And the road is so narrow that it was built for, like horse carts, right? But, that little thing up there has a post store and a pub. So the big trucks with the kegs of beer go up this road. Those trucks barely have that much. Here's the mountain on this side and the cliff, right? 1,200 feet. Right. And as you go up, the ocean's right over there, and at the bottom of that cliff, it kind of smooths out into pasture land that goes to the ocean, and Skibbereen up there. So you go up, 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 and you get up there, and there's a sign saying highest pub in Ireland, right? So it's kind of, um, you know, what is up that neck of the woods? Just above the west coast, just above Skibbereen, right? There's that mountain range, and you take this road up, and there are a bunch of farms up there. There's only that little hamlet, and you go past that hamlet on this one road, and it's the end of a cul-de-sac, maybe 5 miles, but they're big, beautiful tops of forests. And one of you get roughly about 5 miles from that hamlet, and it's all kind of, it's no longer the cliff over there, but it's rolling kind of pasture that goes woo, right, and not a cliff, but woo, like this. And the goats and the sheep bounce around on that cliff all the time. And if you go up that road at that, oh, it's maybe 10 miles before from the Western Highway up to that hamlet up there. I think she took you into the subtle reality. Yes, no kidding. That's where, because, you know, when she was driving a car that, XK, 12 cylinder Jaguar red built in 1958, and she was wearing a red flight suit, like the Red Baron. We're zipping along this road, and I'm like, cliff that side, right? That side. And we pop out at the top, and she almost flies in and hits the brakes and parks, like, right, and goes in and sees the guy. And I don't know how he knew, but he had bangers and mash and a bottle of patty on the bar and two seats waiting for us, right? And so that guy, and big bear of a guy, right? And he was the son. The father and the uncles were also big. I think they were bears, right? And so, um, so we did that, and then she went and got her mail. She bought a few things at the general store there. Actually, and we didn't fly. We just kind of drove nicely, and we drive, and I'm looking around. It's like unbelievably beautiful, deep, deep woods on this side, and these kind of meadows going down, right? And we get up to a high point, we stop, and we kind of, you can see this thing, the whole West Coast. Like you can see Skibbereen and going towards Limerick, and um, this little town of Glendore down there, and where the racetrack is, right? And they have the big yearly race up there. And anyway, we get to Whole View, we get in, and we're driving a little more. So this, from that little hamlet and bar up the road about 5 miles to this like place where you can take a look, and then we keep going maybe 2 miles, and she's driving along, not really super fast, like she was flying up that cliff road. And she said she drove like that because if there's a truck coming down, she was not backing down. They had a kind of every so often a place where a car could pull in there and a truck could pass, but otherwise there was no passing. Right? You had to like back down to that. Anyway, so she flew up that hill because she could. There were multiple places where you could see coming. Right? So she would fly in a place you couldn't see anybody, and then she'd go even faster where you could see. And the whole time we flew up that hill, um, there was no cars coming. Anyway, or trucks. So we have the bangers and mash and some patties, and then we have this nice little view, and then we go a couple miles, and the forest is here, thick, 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 and all of a sudden, it's like she looks like she's driving into the forest, like we're gonna have an accident. Whoop! There's a road there. Zing, 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 and it's darker than dark. It's like nighttime, right? You just drive through, drive through unknown amount of time and space and miles, and we pop out, bang, into this unbelievably beautiful, I mean, beautiful meadow, and the road went all the way up top, and there's a pond up there, waterfall, a larger lake down below, meadows with animals on it, a big barn, small barn, like a working barn, like you work on your car, your truck, your tractor, and a beautiful little farmhouse, right, with a beautiful porch, all covered porch all the way around, and a second floor with again another porch up there. Nice little house. Kind of drive in, and you know everything's open. There is no locked anything. The tea shop in Dublin was also subtle. Cause reality. Yep, exactly. It was just like Harry Potter. Where do you think Harry Potter got the idea? Meaning, you went down this little alley. Trinity's right over there. That circle where the main drag that it's like the real that goes by the post office where the relations where the big oak trees were, and then when they joined the EU, they took them all down and put up stupid, fallacy, you know, Davis architecture. What's the name of this road? The main road in Dublin, right? Anyway, at going towards Trinity, there's a circle, and you go up the hill where the rich people were. They had the houses that actually had windows, and in Ireland they taxed windows, so poor people couldn't have windows, right? And pretty much everywhere in the United States, they do the same thing in Indian reservations out in the West, and in lands that have been deemed that were territorially given to the frigging Indians, on treaties that are kind of stuck in gold. They just said, "Oh, we don't believe in that. We're going to take it away. Oh, there's oil here. We're going to take it from you." And they would just come in and take the Indians' animals, which is their livelihood, their sheep, their cows, right? Their everything, and then make them buy it back. If you want your sheep back, you got to buy them back at $300 a pop. You want your cows back, they're $1,000, right? Otherwise, get out. She walks in two worlds. I'm sure she walks in more than two. Sue, what time is it? Yeah, I gotta go. I will see you guys in a little bit. I'm gonna come back. So I'd say in about an hour I'll come back. But right now I have to go to fellowship. Okay. Okay.